That was absolutely terrible. Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is Monday. It's another week. I hope you had a great Easter yesterday. Hope you social distance. I'm actually filming this on Sunday. All right, so I am taking today. I'm just gonna run I ran a couple easy miles, and gotta say that the legs felt pretty good. So I went out and I did a 6-mile bike ride with Obi. And, you know, I was like, okay, everything feels really solid with the exception of that pesky IT band, which I've been kind of dealing off and on with for, seems like since January. But that wasn't going to stop me when I got back, took care of a few things, and then decided, you know what, I feel good enough. I'm going to go and do a shakeout, which I think is important to do. I think that shakeout runs after a big race are super important because it helps keep that acid flowing and keep your muscles repairing. You can stretch them out. You can get some protein into your body, continue to help those muscles recover so that you can start building your way back up into your training, right? Which I plan on doing. I don't plan on training too hard because, let's face it, what am I training for? But I do plan on building my anaerobic fitness and getting that mileage base built up, right? Which has been my goal over the past few weeks. Now, when I went out on my run today, man, I laced up those Nike Pegasus 36, which they just do a great job of supporting my feet on these easier runs. I love the way that they feel on these easy runs. It's got that nice 10 millimeter drop, as I always talk about, a nice cushioned midsole, and it just felt really good. So a little windy, but nothing that really held me back because I wasn't looking for speed. One thing that you'll notice is that my cadence was actually a little bit slower than it normally is. The legs were heavy. Even though they weren't really sore, I didn't have a lot of soreness. I really had no pain while I was running. I could definitely tell that the legs were heavy. They were struggling to move at the rate that I normally move at, which is fine. That's okay. It was an easy run. It was just something to get me shaken out, right? So it's just always a good idea to make sure that you get a run in after a big run day or a big race or something, just to keep that body moving, keep those legs going, and make sure that they don't get too tight. This is a really good way to keep your legs from locking up, and it kind of accelerates the recovery process for you. Backyard marathon. That's right. That's the reason we're all here. I mean, yeah, we can talk about the recovery run or whatever, but let's face it. Most of you are here today to hear about the backyard marathon, so let's dive into it. So I started off the marathon at 8 a.m. All right, and luckily I was able to get everything going. Last second, decided to do a Facebook Live. As far as what shoes I used, I actually ended up going with the Hoka One One Speed Goat 4s. These are my newest pair of trail running shoes and I absolutely love these. My first pair of trail running shoes were the Brooks Caldera 2s and I like those a lot. And they actually have the same 4mm drop and they're also very cushioned just like the Speed Goat 4s. However, the Speed Goat 4s, they just feel a little bit higher quality. It's a little bit more snug in the upper, which I like. My foot doesn't really move around and I feel very secure in these shoes. Now, if you look back to the first vlog when I ran in the Ultra Lone Peaks around my backyard, there's a lot of space in that shoe, which is one of the perks of the shoe, except in a situation like this where you're turning a lot, my foot wasn't really locked in. And so I went with the Speed Goat 4s because it really does a nice job of securing my foot. There was one point in the run where I had to stop and tighten these bad boys up. And that actually, after I tightened them up, I didn't really have a lot more ankle pain. There beforehand, there was a lot of ankle pain, especially in my left ankle, and it was just because my ankle wasn't secure in the shoe. So I tightened up along the upper, I pulled a little tighter through the runner's knot here, and that felt a ton better. Did not help my hip feel better, but that's okay. So another thing that I think I probably should have taken my handheld out there with me. I think one of the things that really hurt me is my water consumption wasn't consistent, right? So normally when I do long races, especially past the marathon level, is I will have a handheld or a vest and I'll have gels with me. I will do the gel a little bit at a time while also drinking water and make sure that fluid is going through and that those carbs are getting broken down. And I just having to stop to drink the water at the aid table and not being able to do what I normally do with drinking water as I go with the gel, I think that caused me a little bit of not only annoyance, but it also, I started getting a headache at one point. So definitely wish I had taken a handheld with me on that, especially with how long that I was out there. With road marathon, like an actually organized marathon, you have aid stations along the way. You can throw down a water, shoot back just a small 100-calorie gel, and you're good to go. You can keep trucking along. You don't need to carry one of these because ideally you're only going to be out there for like, you know, 3.5 hours. However, with this one today, there was no chance of that, right? I thought I'd be done around 4 hours and 30 minutes, and I ended up done right at about 4 hours and 47 minutes. So definitely out there a little bit longer. I was scared there for a little bit that my pace would actually dip me down into the 5-hour mark, but I overcame that and was able to keep going to finish up at 4 hours and 47 minutes. Now, you can actually see that my pace dropped down around that mile 18 mark. All right, so you can see that my pace dropped off. The mile 17 was a slower pace because I stopped at mile 16 for some aid, right? I got some food, I got some water and stuff, but really right there at mile 18, everything started going downhill, which is characteristic. That mile 18 is kind of where the wall could be anywhere from there to mile 23 in the marathon distance. So really there's no shock there, but I know now moving forward that at mile 18, that's when I can expect that, and I can train to prepare for that and start working to tweak things in order to make sure that I push through that a little bit more efficiently. Because I mean, you can see here on the Strava that the pace really did not push through like I would have liked it to. So that happened there, but I finished, and that was it. I think that was the crazy thing about it, is that there wasn't some like big thing at the finish of, you know, you get a medal, you get a t-shirt, you get all you can eat pizza, whatever. It was just done. The run was over, and never have I had a mental battle on a self-organized run, you know, like I did today. And never have I had my form deteriorate, or I don't think I have. This is one of the first times that I've filmed a self-organized run. But I don't think I've ever had my form deteriorate so much over the course of, I guess we could call this a training run. It's pretty obvious that my hips kind of drop, and that I just started losing that straight line, that risen upper body that can help me to keep some of the pressure off of my joints. And I think that's one of the big reasons that my IT band flares up after these big long runs. Like, I'm really excited that I found this. It's really frustrating because it's like, my bad form was out there for the world to see. But that's the whole point of Share the Road, is that I am sharing my journey with you all. So hey, look at how bad my form sucks here. Check it out. Look at it. Do you do the same thing? Let's work on it together, okay? So I'm going to be researching avenues as to how I can have the strength to keep that form in a nice straight line, that could keep my body at that nice 45-degree angle, and that my hips don't sag to where it's putting pressure on that IT band. I can feel it right now. And my knees and my ankles, right? So I'm really excited about having found something I can work on through doing this. Now, I mentioned that I left out the audiobooks and the music because I wanted to find that fight or flight moment, and I did. I mean, there was a moment where, and I'll talk about more in the podcast this week about really what my head went into, but it just got into a bunch of doubts about how all of my goals that I want to accomplish, like, I'm not good enough, I'll never make it, and it just won't work. Like, this isn't even that impressive, and you're struggling this much. And man, I was just really down in the dumps. And then eventually I came out the other side like, well, none of that matters right now. All that matters right now is that you finish this, that you get this done, right? So, and we did. I say we because without your all support, without everybody cheering me on and posting in the comments, and oh my gosh, you guys are just so amazing. I don't think that I would have analyzed this so much. I don't think that I would have. I had this kind of monologue, I guess, at the end of the stream, where I had a lot of realizations. Like, a lot of those things that I talked about at the end of that stream were very much so like new realizations for me. So this run really kind of helped me figure out some things about my identity as a runner. And so thank you for tuning in and just giving me a reason to find that. It was really unbelievable. So hopefully this inspired you. I know some of my friends sent me some videos of them doing some social distancing, riding solo and running solo.
It's really seemed like a lot more fun in my head. So glad I'm not doing a full marathon, Chris. That's a lap.
Hey Chris, guessing you're about halfway through your marathon. Just finished a backyard 5K at my place. Would love to be racing and run with everybody, but right now, like everybody else, going to do social distancing and try and keep everybody safe. Thanks, good luck.
And I am so it hypes me up to see people trying to do their part to share this distance, right? Like, I know that it's silly play on words, it's, whatever, but we really are sharing this distance. It's an interesting time to be an active individual because Owensboro has this unique community where we get together like 3 or 4 times a week in these different group runs, and we encourage each other, and it's very positive, and we get better together, and you have these different ability groups, and it's amazing. But right now we don't have that. We just have ourselves. So make sure you're reaching out to each other. Make sure you're doing fun little quirky things like text your buddy like, hey, I'm going to run a mile today and I'm going to try and do this much. That's one way you can share the distance while still running solo. You can chat back and forth. You can challenge each other on nutritional goals. There are different ways that we can continue to share this journey of improvement without having to get together. If you are new to endurance sports, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. One thing I'll say is I've seen on forums from people who are self-labeled runners or cyclists or trail runners, and I'm really kind of upset to find that a lot of people are posting memes that are poking fun at people who are just starting their athletic journey. And to those of you who are just starting, ignore them. If you see anything like that, please, the moment that you step out of your house and take a step and start moving your feet on the road, you're a runner. The moment you put a foot down and start taking stride on the dirt, guess what? You're a trail runner. Welcome. Okay? Most of us are so happy you're here. If you have the misfortune to come across some of the more elitist amateurs, as I like to call them, and it's not a term of endearment, just ignore them. A lot of you noticed the shirt that I wore during the backyard marathon, and that is this beauty right here. Running is not canceled. Isn't that awesome? So I got this from Fleet Feet Huntsville. Dink Taylor shared him wearing this. He's the owner down there, and I commented on it and I said, man, how do I get one of those? He said, call the store. I called him on Thursday, placed my order. It was here on Friday. So Fleet Feet Huntsville, you guys are rock stars. You are all amazing. Thank you for getting this to me. Even to a Kentucky boy all the way up here, you got this to me, and I cannot be more appreciative. So if you want one of these bad boys, give Fleet Feet in Huntsville a call and they will hook you up. That is such a cool shirt. Such a cool shirt. So there's a few more people I need to thank. I need to thank Stave Coffee here in Owensboro for supplying my coffee for the backyard marathon. Coffee's a big part of every single day I live, but also a massive part of my race day routine. And so very thankful for them for supplying some coffee and sponsoring the effort. So make sure that you go and like Stave Coffee on Facebook and place an order because it is absolutely delicious. Hand roasted coffee, local here in Owensboro. Go and get some. It's really amazing. $12 a bag and is absolutely worth it. I also want to thank the Owensboro Times for writing an article. You can go and check that out. Make sure you like and follow Owensboro Times on Facebook. And I want to thank all of you who liked and subscribed and tuned in to the stream and who have been listening to the podcast from the beginning. I started this podcast the week before Mountain Mist, so the last week of January. This Friday will be the 12th episode of Share the Road. Today's vlog is the 3rd vlog, so this is still in its infancy, but I am having an amazing time, and it's all because of you all. So thank you for sharing this road with me. It has been an absolute blast, and I cannot wait to see what other crazy shit we accomplish, because That was wild. It was absolutely terrible. But we made it through. We're recovering. We're keeping on. And we're sharing the distance. All right? I cannot wait to share the road with you all soon. But until then, ride solo, run solo. Abel out. So, Dad came back, asked me if I needed anything. It's really nice. I was like, nah, man, I should be good. I'm gonna take an Epsom salt bath. He's like, all right. Walks out the door, head back to my bathroom. I'm out of Epsom salt. If there was any liquid left in my body, it'd be leaving my eyeballs. But I don't.